I'm looking forward to spending just a few minutes with you and talking about this amazing stem cell technology. Somebody probably told you, you have to check this thing out. It's helping so many people. My name is Tim Marks, and I am trained as an electrical engineer. I'm not a medical guy, but I can read medical studies and reports and listen to what doctors say. What doctors say is that stem cells make up every good thing in our body, including our organs. And that as we age, our stem cells, they don't actually leave our body, they just go dormant. By the time we're 30, we're down to about 50% of our stem cells are active. Then by the time we're 60, now we're down to less than 10% of our stem cells are active. And that's why we're starting to feel aches and pains and cricks and cracks and wrinkling and things like that. The natural aging process happens. Here's a good way to think of it. Think of a little boy, 5 years old, 6 years old, full of natural, healthy stem cells. He's riding his bike down the road at 10 miles an hour, falls off, boom, skins his knee, bumps his elbows. 2 minutes later, he's riding his bike. He's totally fine. He's smiling. Kids bounce back because they have all these healthy stem cells. Well, let's contrast that with an 85-year-old person. Now they're just sitting on the bike, stationary, and they fall over on the bike. They're going to break their hip, their elbow, go to the hospital. It's a bad deal, right? Because they don't have a lot of stem cells active, if any. Now, nobody was hurt in the making of these photos. These are all AI generated. Don't worry about that. What the medical industry tells us is go out and get stem cell injections. And they claim that stem cell injections, and they do work to some degree for sure, but they'll cure everything from Parkinson's disease to, aches and pains and arthritis and headaches and back pain and neuropathy and all these different things if you get stem cell injections. Well, number one, they're very costly, $3, $5, $10,000 or more per injection. And number two, they just don't last as long and they're not as effective on most people. Dr. Leland Stillman, who is an MD, now he studied all things stem cells. And what he said was there's something in the body called copper peptide, GHKCU. If that copper peptide is not healthy and activated, there's a good chance that stem cell injections either won't work or they won't work that long. Now, that's really not disputed in the industry. Most places that do stem cell injections will tell you you have to come back 2, 3, 4, 5 times, whatever. So Leland Stillman studied all things stem cells. And what he said was he recommends this to his patients now. It's called phototherapy, red light therapy. Photobiomodulation is a technical term for this X39 LifeWave patch. It is a non-transdermal patch, nanocrystal technology. It reflects the red light that's coming out of our body back into our body to bring our own stem cells back to life. Okay, we're going to talk about that as we go on here. Whether somebody's totally healthy, like Serena Williams here, if you don't know who she is, she's a professional tennis player at the top of her game, very wealthy. She's in her private jet there, and you can see in her little bag of goodies, her makeup bag, is she calls this one of her favorite things. So she also has doctors that are advising her, and she's very healthy, doesn't have a lot of health challenges. So if that's you, this patch is good for you. So she's got it right there in her bag. Or if you do have some kind of health challenge, like this person got in a car accident, you can see the gash, the great wound there, almost lost part of their hand. So they put a patch right on their hand there and one on the back of their neck, and 63 days later, it's difficult to tell that they even had a car accident, no scarring. The guy that invented this, his name is David Schmidt. He is a scientist and inventor, has been pretty much his whole life. He's got 200 patents to his name, which is it's rare to get one. This man has 200 patents to his name. He's focused all of his attention since 2008, really, on stem cell research, age reversing technology. He put $4.5 million of his own money and 10 years of his life into the medical studies for this little X39 patch. So 10 years they did all these medical studies. Why? Because he wanted to get a patent on it. So he took all these medical studies, applied for a patent, meaning nobody else can make this. This is so specific and so specialized and unique, nobody else can make it. And the government granted the patent in 2020. Now, I won't read the whole patent to you, but basically what it says, now this is the kind of patent where you have to prove that it actually does what you say it does. You can't just claim it, you have to prove it, and he did. So about halfway down this pulled out paragraph here, what we see is you can wear the patch anywhere on the body. It causes a beneficial effect by providing phototherapy to the human body. We're going to talk about that here in a second. as a result of elevating the copper peptide. That's what that Dr. Leland Stillman says. You have to elevate the copper peptide to get your own stem cells to be healthy. Next line, including activation of stem cells. So our own stem cells are coming back to life. From that, you get improvements of energy, elevation of antioxidants, reduction of inflammation, so important, management of pain, stamina, elevation of collagen production. Remember, during these medical studies, they're checking people's blood gases, all this, and they see collagen increasing. And then improved wound healing. Pretty awesome. Well, I grew up in Michigan, and we would have not a lot of sun there sometimes. And my mom used to tell me after these long periods, you get kind of gloomy, right? Not having sun. She'd say, you kids are in a bad mood. The sun finally comes out. Go outside and get some sun. The sun gives you vitamin D. We've all heard this, right? It's kind of true. The sun doesn't actually give us vitamin D. The sun stimulates a certain cholesterol on our skin, and then our body creates the vitamin D. Keep that in mind as we talk about how this patch works. We are emitting infrared light. All human beings, matter of fact, everything in God's creation emits infrared that's living, infrared light or frequency or both. Human beings emit both. So what David Schmidt figured out how to do, think of this little patch as a mirror. It reflects the infrared light that's coming out of our body back in there and stimulates the copper peptide and brings our own stem cells back to life. And you can see it. This is how it's always coming out of our skin. These little infrared rays, he's reflecting that back into our skin. It goes through the levels of the skin, stimulates the copper peptide, much like how the sun enables our body to create vitamin D. This stimulates our copper peptides. Pretty awesome as that red light re-enters our body that was coming out of our body anyway. So it is non-transdermal. It's proprietary phototherapy. Again, the technical term for it is photobiomodulation. There are no drugs or chemicals or stimulants. It's non-transdermal. There's nanocrystal technology in here, salt, sugars, other organic matter that does not go into your body. Nothing in this patch will go into your body, so you don't need to worry about that. It's non-invasive, okay? So it won't interfere with any kind of medications you're on or anything like that. Now, these are some of the testimonials that we usually get early on. Doctors tell us that however many decades we've been alive, in other words, if I'm 60 years old, it might take me 6 months to get a testimonial. Oftentimes it happens quicker than that, but usually 1 month per decade. You get increased strength, mental clarity, reduction of inflammation. That helps with so many different things. Restored muscular skeletal condition, increased stamina, energy and vitality, improved skin appearance. And this one affects all of them. Improved sleep. After 4 days on the patch, I slept 8 hours, which to most people doesn't sound impressive until I tell you, I hadn't slept more than 5 hours in 5 years, sometimes only 3 or 4 hours a night. And now, because of this patch, 8 hours of sleep. Pretty awesome. This is from the medical studies. Over this 10-year period, they did all these medical studies, and here's what the medical studies confirmed. Within the first few days, 4,000 genes begin to reset in our body. Remember, they're doing blood tests, blood gas tests, all these things. Within the first couple of weeks, the brain becomes more balanced. I'll show you a slide there next. Collagen levels are increased, again, in our blood. Heart reverses in age at 6 months. David Schmidt says it's not anti-aging, it's age reversing. That's quite a statement, I know. We're going to prove it to you with some pictures here in a minute. Remember, the brain becomes more balanced. So this is a 77-year-old, otherwise healthy yoga instructor. No drugs or stimulants, but she had some cognitive challenges. They called it lack of brain coherence. They did a topography scan of her brain. You can see the red. Red is inflammation, not good. They put the patch on the back of her neck. She wore it for 12 hours a day, 12 hours on, 12 hours off. At 3 weeks, they did another scan. And you can see the inflammation is almost totally gone, improved brain coherence. At 6 weeks, the inflammation is gone, better brain coherence, complete turnaround. Quite amazing. That was one of the studies that went with the U.S. patent application that was approved. So here's how you wear the patch. It's a sticker, medical grade sticker, and you just put it on the back of your neck, or you can put it 2 fingers below your belly button. But the best place is at the base of the neck, right at the bottom of the cervical spine, top of the thoracic, or draw a line across your shoulders. Boop, put it right there. Wear it 12 hours on and 12 hours off. The patch was designed to work about 12 hours. Why? That's what doctors tell us is the best time frame for the human body. Our body needs the other 12 hours. Remember, these 10 years of medical studies, our body needs the other 12 hours to rest and recuperate. You will want to drink plenty of water because of all the copper peptides being stimulated. You need plenty of water going into your body, okay? So you wear it 12 hours on, 12 hours off. That's all you have to do. and wear it during the day because it will tend to give you energy and then help you sleep better at night after you take it off. So the testimonies are amazing. I believe this. The proof is in the pudding on the patch. So we're going to show you a few pictures here. Remember, David Schmidt said it's not anti-aging, it's age reversing. Look at this. This young lady is 93 years old. No potions, lotions, drugs, chemicals, anything else. She wore this patch on the back of her neck for less than a year, and look at the difference. I was trained as an electrical engineer, no medical background, but I remember from biology class in high school that the skin is the largest organ in the human body. So if her skin is that much better, how much better is the rest of her doing? That's my question. This is not intended to treat, cure, or diagnose any disease or condition. We're required by law to say that. There, I said it. My question is, why do we have to say that? Watch with your own eyes. Tell me what you see. This is 3 months using the patch wearing on the back of her neck. Now she's smiling in the second picture. She's got makeup on. Okay, look at her neck and her chest. Focus on that. Look at the difference there. And this gentleman here, these dark spots on the side of his head, look how much those are reduced in just 3 months. I call this the Florida sun chest. This lady here, her wrinkles in her face are reduced, definitely, but her chest and her neck, wow, what a difference. 5 months on the patch, only 5 months. This is from Sugar Condition, we'll just say. Renita Brandon, who's a brand partner. This is her dad. She blew this picture up so we could see the redness and the weeping and oozing in the sores. So the leg wasn't swollen that much, full disclosure, but she put 4 patches on her dad's leg. What you're looking at is 24 hours. 24 hours later, what a difference. This young lady, she had acne issues for years. She put the patch on the back of her neck, and this is about 5 months. Look at the difference, particularly the pitting and the scarring. Wow, what a difference for young people, or anybody for that matter. Varicose veins or spider veins, whatever you want to call them. People pay thousands of dollars to get these removed from their body. This lady wore the patch on the back of her neck, and this was only about 6 weeks. So it can happen faster, but remember that 1 month per decade is typically how long it will take. That's what doctors tell us to count on. This gentleman had this for 15 years, this lump in his back. And he doesn't want to have surgery because evidently they sometimes come back. He wore the patch on his back for just a few months, and the lump, it can no longer be seen. Pretty amazing. Edema, water retention, wearing a patch on the back of the neck just 3 weeks later. Not intended to treat, cure, diagnose any disease or condition. Psoriasis, any kind of skin irritations or conditions. There's all kinds of drugs and chemicals and things we can take for this, or put the patch in the back for the neck. Look at that, 10 days later, what a difference. This young man was in a snowboarding accident. You can see the deep abrasions and cuts and all that. 5 days later, he had the patch on the back of his neck, and it almost all cleared up. This lady had a rare condition where a nerve was caught around her jugular vein, and you can see she had to have surgery, and the swelling and inflammation all around the neck, and it would have been scarring. She put 3 patches on there. 10 days later, it's very difficult to tell she even had a surgery. This next one, a 9-year-old boy got his fingertip caught in a door, and as we all would, he pulled on it, tried to get it out, and when he did, he caused more damage. The dad rushes him to the emergency room, begs the doctors to sew it back on. The doctor said there's too much nerve damage in the tip of that finger. If we sew it back on, it'll probably die. He begs him to do it. The doctors do it against their better judgment. Look what happened. Second picture, the doctors were right. Dad takes him home, puts a patch on the back of his neck, couple on his hand. 2 months later, you can see how it aided in wound healing. Whether somebody's totally healthy, like any of these athletes, again, Serena Williams, you got David Beckham, you got Michael Phelps, you got NBA players, NFL players, military, all these people also have doctor advisors. They're at the top of their game. These people make millions of dollars, and their doctors all checked it out. They said it's a good idea. On top of that, let's leave politics out of this one, okay? This young man sitting in the leg press right here, he is 71 years old, and again, regardless of his politics, he's healthy. That's the point. He's in better shape than most 20, 25-year-olds in our country. Matter of fact, he's got a 6-pack. His name is RFK Jr. He's the Secretary of Health and Human Services for the United States. And if you look in the back of his shirt, you'll see the X39 patch sticking out there. He actually had his staff reach out to David Schmidt's staff and ask if he could be on some kind of stem cell think tank thing. It was too much time commitment. David Schmidt had to unfortunately turn it down, but I think he's offering support and all that. But pretty cool that the Secretary of Health and Human Services of the U.S. is on this patch. When David Schmidt got the patent, he said, okay, I need to price this. He hired a marketing company, and that marketing company looked at this sleeve. So this is a sleeve envelope. Basically what it is, there's 30 patches in a sleeve, or if you wore one a day, 30 days supply. So this professional marketing company looked at all the patent, the medical studies, all this stuff, stem cells so hot. What they said was you could easily get $300 to $400 per sleeve for this. And the market would bear it, probably more because of all the testimonies, etc. And David Schmidt said, okay, I appreciate that. We're not going to do that. We are going to do $99 wholesale. And some people thought that he was maybe a little lost it and he left too much money on the table. You tell me what you see here. So it's only marketed this way. Like somebody asked you to watch this video. This is the only way it's marketed. 2021, they did about, the patent came out in 2020. 2021, they did about 20 million. The company kind of leveled off. And there were about a lot of doctors and scientists trying to sell it, and they were reading all the studies to people, and it just wasn't real inspiring. The next year, in 2022, a couple came along, Steve and Gina, and they figured out how to make a presentation similar to what you're seeing today, and where a layperson could understand it, where I could understand it. 320 million that year. The next year, 430 million. 2024 finished up over $600 million. 2025, last year, almost $1 billion in sales. All because people want to try this patch. There's a 30-day money-back guarantee on everything. So what we recommend you do, place a wholesale order. Now, these are one-time prices for wholesale order. You're becoming a brand partner. That way you get wholesale pricing from here on out, okay? And so what my wife and I did, we did the advance, which is 6 of these sleeves for $535. I used a sleeve. My wife used a sleeve. All 4 of our kids had a sleeve, okay? Now we tell them you can buy your own. If funds are tight or you're just wanting to check it out or whatever, you can do core. You'll get 3 of these sleeves. Remember, there's 30 patches in a sleeve. $295 for that. And then every sleeve after that, your subscription, we'll set you up on a 1 sleeve or more subscription. You're in charge of that. You can start it whenever you want. Advanced Plus, of course, is 11 sleeves for $975. Premium is 20 sleeves for $1750. But we recommend Advanced or above. And just try this out. And then you're going to want to probably, tell your neighbor about it who has neuropathy or problems with his feet or whatever. That's typically how it works. But just get your own testimony. Try this patch out. Whoever invited you to watch this video, they can help you place your wholesale order. Do that now, and then we'll get them coming to you 2-day FedEx. And we look forward to hearing your testimony about how this LifeWave technology has helped you and your loved ones with your health. I'm Tim. Have a great day. God bless.